Hey, it's Kevin with the New Warehouse podcast here at Manifest 2026. It is day 2 of Manifest, and we are in the Maersk podcast studio. Thank you to Manifest for allowing us to use this space and creating it for us creators here as well. And it's time for my annual Manifest catch-up with Gary Allen from Ryder. He's joining us here today to talk a little bit about what he's seeing in general in the industry, but also maybe some of the takeaways from Manifest as well on the technology, automation, AI, everything front.
Everything
right?
AI, man.
Right.
Yeah, that's a hot topic.
Gary, thanks for joining us again.
Thank you.
Refresh us a little bit if people are not familiar. Tell us a little bit about Ryder.
Yeah, so Ryder, we're a third-party logistics company. We've been around for like almost 100 years. We started in the trucking side. We have a lot of trucks. We lease, maintain vehicles. We have more trucks than anybody else in North America. We're a North American entity. We don't operate in Europe and other parts of the world, but we also do a lot of warehousing. And in our warehousing business, it's organized by industry vertical as well as by product. So we do e-commerce, we do last mile, we do packaging, co-manufacturing, and then kind of standard warehousing as well. And on the warehouse side, we have a little over 100 million square feet of warehousing in North America. So we like our warehouses, we like our trucks, and it's a fun time to be in supply chain.
Yeah, absolutely, and you got some space, right? So I'm sure
we got space. We got
you're looking at
space.
Solutions, right? So tell us a little bit about kind of what you're seeing in the industry on a technology front. What are some of the trends out there?
What's fun is it continues to advance, and Manifest is a great conference because it's a mix of providers, suppliers, customers. What we're seeing in the warehouse is all about automation, and we talked a little bit about that last year.
Yeah.
What I'd say is it continues to mature, right? And if you look at the automation technologies like autonomous mobile robots, there's so many providers out there.
Sure.
Autonomous forklifts, ASRSs, right? So they continue to advance, and where it's going in the automation side of it, the first thing is reducing travel time.
Right.
And then, the put away, the picking, and now it's going into, autonomous loading and unloading is kind of the next wave. And then eventually humanoids. We're testing humanoids.
Yeah.
They're not ready yet, right? We're testing it in a lab at this point in time. But they're going to continue to advance, and it's going to evolve really, really quickly. And I think what's changing, it's really the software side of it's changing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's where it gets really confusing for our customers, is like, AI is obviously a hot topic. AI's been around for decades.
Yeah.
We've been doing AI. We've been doing, machine learning, natural language processing. It's the agentic AI, the Gen AI is new.
Sure.
And what's confusing for our customers, and we help them navigate kind of through the complexity, because you got so many different providers, so many different technologies, and it's kind of converging together, right? Software meets hardware replaces people, but you still need the software and hardware to kind of coexist, so to speak. And so it's going to continue to advance. I think humanoids are going to accelerate. I don't know when it's going to be viable. Maybe 5-10 years, who knows? It's kind of like autonomous over-the-road trucking, right? Everybody said it's going to be, it's going to be viable like 5 years ago, and it's just going to take time because of the safety and the protocols and so forth. But listen, within Ryder, we have two main kind of disruptive themes that we're focused on.
Okay.
And it's warehouse automation, from a warehousing perspective.
Yeah.
And it's AI.
Yeah.
And the two are converging, which makes it really exciting, kind of scary in a way. But it's changing the way we work too, right?
Sure.
We're still in the labor play, right? It used to be about labor arbitrage.
Right.
We still have a lot of employees in a warehouse. And you and I talked about it last year. It's hard to get people that want to work in a warehouse.
Yes.
In fact, it's harder than hiring a truck driver.
Yeah.
You would think it'd be the opposite. But it's advancing quickly, right? We are replacing labor with machines. Within Ryder, about 40% of our warehouses have some form of automation today.
Yeah.
And if you and I met 10 years ago, it probably would be about 5 or 10%, right?
Right.
And it's a function of the options are way more, there's way more options in the market. The costs are coming down. The capabilities are improving. And the cost of labor is increasing. So all of those combined, make it a pretty viable, ROI and a business case around automation.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's very interesting to see kind of the advancement and just the evolution of some of these technologies, right? And you said, as there's many different providers now for these AMRs and ASRS, and in some instances, some use cases, right? I think we're even almost getting to like a commoditized aspect, right? In a sense, yeah.
Oh, 100%. I mean, if you look at autonomous mobile robots, it's a commodity.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, the providers that are here at Manifest will say, oh, well, we differentiate in XYZ, maybe our motors, our look, feel, flexibility.
Yeah.
But really the difference is the software side of it, right? But the machines are almost a commodity now.
Yeah.
And then next is autonomous forks are kind of migrating down that path, right?
Yeah.
And on the forklifts, you either have purpose-built forklifts or the retrofits. But the technology itself is becoming a bit of a commodity. I think what's cool is on the ASRS side of it, there's a lot of advancements around the robots in the systems, the flexibility of those robots.
Sure.
More modular, right? We work with companies like Movu and Mitra.
Yeah.
And they're way more flexible. It's kind of like a Lego type, building blocks, which work really well for like e-commerce and or brownfield facilities too, right? You may be constrained on space and so forth. So,
yeah. Actually, when you said that, I was just going to ask you about how you're approaching kind of brownfield aspects in that sense, because I imagine that as most operators, you don't always want to have to go out and get a new building to do a new project, right? So how are you approaching that in kind of your brownfield facilities and bringing in some of these advanced technologies into those spaces?
Yeah, we don't have the luxury of a greenfield warehouse every week, right?
Sure.
I mean, the majority of our warehouses are brownfield.
Yeah.
Now, in our client operations like e-commerce or our CPG multi-client, we'll take down the building, build to suit, greenfield type operations. So it's a mix. I mean, it really depends on the profile of, what you're managing, right? And so it starts with a profile, whether it's like a retail customer, CPG, full pallets, case. So it comes down to the profile, and then it comes down to what are you trying to solve?
Yeah.
Right? Is it a labor pay? Is it productivity? Is it throughput? Is it all the above? But yeah, brownfields, you're constrained. You're constrained on space.
Sure.
The other thing we learned pretty quickly on the autonomous forks is you better invest in the infrastructure, right? You need the proper flooring. It needs to be level. It needs to be, almost fortified.
Yeah.
Because when we started launching autonomous forks, we found issues with cracking and so forth. So there's a lot of investment in the building. So you have a bit of a retrofit aspect. But for us, it really comes down to, the profile of the customer and what are we trying to solve for.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think it's interesting to see that, and and that's some of that. Kind of surrounding reality too around automation, as you just said. Like it's like, okay, well, we go get the solution, but then we also need to make sure our floors are flat and level, and we need to adjust some things around that to be able to make it viable and get the full optimization and efficiency from it. So now let's talk a little bit about everybody's favorite word here, AI, right?
Yeah.
So you mentioned that you've been using AI for several years, and tell us a little bit about some of the use cases you're seeing within the warehouse operations for AI, and what's viable versus what's like up in the sky kind of.
Yeah, what's la la land versus what's real.
Yeah.
I mean, when we talk AI, we're talking more agentic AI,
Sure,
right?
yeah.
Because listen, like I said, we've been doing machine learning. I have a data analytics team with about 90 people.
Yeah.
And we've been building models, right? But what's new is agentic AI. If you think about the warehouse, I mean, the complexity is if we bring in warehouse automation, the providers will have AI embedded in their technology, right? You think about a humanoid, you think about autonomous forks, they have AI. Now, it may not be agentic AI.
Yeah.
But really our focus around AI starts with what are the main problems we're trying to solve for, what are the themes, because it gets way too broad too quickly, right? And a lot of the companies here say, well, we do AI across the supply chain, or it's both transportation and warehousing. So what we do within Ryder is really a threefold approach.
Yeah.
One is we're either going to build AI ourselves, or we're going to embed it in the products we have, or we're going to rely on our providers, right? Like our WMS provider predominantly is Manhattan, our TMS is Blue Yonder. So we're going to bring in our partners, and or we're going to invest or acquire in different AI companies. So it's kind of a three-prong approach. And then within Ryder, we've set up a center of excellence and kind of governance, because there's a lot of security concerns around AI, right?
Sure,
and how you manage data. So all of that is kind of the internal infrastructure and governance. But getting back to the warehouse side of it, our main focus is around, I'll kind of call it operational planning. As a holistic theme. And within operational planning, we're starting around labor forecasting. And we've made a decision to build it ourselves because we have all the data. Right? It comes out of our WMS, it comes out of our labor management system. We have a labor scheduling tool. We have all the data. The hard part is, and we'll be ready in about March to deploy a labor forecasting model that will look out 30 days, and then weekly, and then intraday to do planning. Basically saying, we need 100 people, you plan for X, yesterday you had, 80 people, based on the order volume, the order patterns, what's coming in, you should have 100 people. The hard part isn't really building out the AI or even buying it. The hardest part is how do you operationalize it? If you look at our warehouses, right, we do last mile, we do e-commerce. Every product is slightly different because of the profile of our customers, so how do you operationalize it? So if I have a forecast, and it's going to tell me tomorrow I need 100 people, not 80, are you actually going to implement that? Right? Do you change your shift structure? Do you go out and get temps in? So there's a lot of what I would say processes that you need to think through to be able to operationalize and get enough value out of any model. We're going to start using the agents to almost like validate the forecast versus the plan. To then go to our operators and say, hey, Joe or Susie, what do you think? And then take the actual results back through the agent to then interpret, did it work? Can I operationalize it? So that's where we're starting. But where we're going to go, and this is where it gets complex, is it's a combination of labor, machines, and inventory, right? And so where we're taking it, think about like in automation, we want to create agents that also use the documents, use the information. So you think about maintaining automation and equipment. Like in ASRS, if you have a breakdown, what do you do? If we have a Sev1 or something, is down, what do you do? We're going to create agents to help navigate what to do when something goes wrong. Right? Today, what happens is we might have a technician, let's say ASRS, you got a bot that's stuck, somebody's got to go in there. Or you're looking at data around throughput, and I'm talking like real-time data. I'm not talking about like end-of-the-day data.
Like last week's data, right?
To monitor, to say, what am I seeing in the way of productivity, throughput, and reliability? Because the true benefit in our view is making sure that not only do you hit the productivity of all the equipment, it's the reliability. You don't have downtimes. But how do we manage it today? We wait for something to break. And then you do root cause. And then you go back. And so our view is that we can use agents to help through the decision making, what to do and why to do it, and that's where we're going to take it. But it's on two things. It's operational planning. The second one is document intelligence. Right? Because there's, whether it's SOPs, whether it's work instructions, whether it's customer SLAs, there are 1 million documents across our business. And sometimes it's on a laptop, sometimes it's in the cloud. And so we're going to capture that data to then feed that back through agents to say what to do when something goes wrong, as an example. So, and it's going to be a blend of working with partners where it makes sense, or building it ourselves.
Interesting, and I'm curious about that because, this came up in a conversation yesterday, actually. Like, when we look at software in general, right now, the barrier to build software is much lower, right? With AI and being able to code, whether it's through things like Lovable or Claude now, right? That everybody's using at the moment, and I'm curious, how do you make that decision between going out to buy or have your team just like build something in-house?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I think it's a key question for really any companies out there, right? Do you
Yeah,
buy, do you build, do you partner? And what I'd say is we have a whole team and a governance around partner evaluation. Again, it goes back to a discrete problem you're trying to solve for.
yeah,
And is something available in market, right? If it's already available in market and it's proven, we'll just buy it. But even if you buy it, you still have to manage the data behind it, right? So you got to evaluate how big of a lift is it to organize that data and then change your process to take advantage of something that's out there.
yeah,
So where we will build is if we have the capabilities and the skill set around that particular use case.
okay,
Right, so you think about a lot of the chatbots, right?
Yeah.
Not necessarily in the warehouse, but think about call center technology, right? We're going to buy that. I mean, that's already out there,
Yeah.
right? I mean, we partner with a company called Happy Robot.
Sure.
They're
Yeah,
here
yeah.
at the show. And, we use Happy Robot for more of the transportation,
Right.
track trace, that type of stuff. It's already out there, so why build it? If Manhattan is building AI embedded into their WMS, we're going to buy it,
yeah,
right? And maybe that's wave planning, whatever use case. But if it comes down to how do I drive optimization in the building,
right,
and then how do I blend machines and inventory and people together, we'll have the tendency to build.
interesting.
So it really depends on the use case. And then doing a proper evaluation of what's in market, because we got a lot of AI providers here, and there's some really good ones.
Yeah,
But the first thing I ask is, okay, what's the use case?
sure,
Show it to me,
yeah,
and then how many clients are using it today,
yeah,
and is it delivering value, right? And it's going to evolve.
yeah,
It's going to evolve, but you really have to have a whole partner evaluation process team in place to be able to interpret what's real and do you buy versus build.
yeah, absolutely. Interesting perspective there and strategy. I think, it's such an interesting time, like in the evolution of technology, not only just, in our industry, but also just in general, right, in the world. And, it's interesting to see kind of the evaluation process of how do we go about that, right? Because in some instances you may see something, you're like, oh, well, I could probably build that now, right, in AI myself or my team could. So I'm curious, you mentioned there when you're approaching these newer technologies, you're asking them like, well, how many people are using it already, right?
Yeah.
And you all invest in some startups and things as well, right, through Ryder. So there's a lot of startups here, right? And some of them, they're looking for maybe that first pilot or that first customer.
Yeah.
So how do you decide from a startup perspective if you want to be one of the first, or you're going to wait until somebody else is the first?
Yeah. You mean from either investing in them or just partnering with them, right?
Or just using them.
Yeah. Yeah, so within Ryder we have actually a venture fund called Ryder Ventures, and we have a dedicated team to evaluate all the new technologies. We align that with our strategy though, right? And it starts with what are the main disruptors, what are the main challenges that are out in the industry, and so we're going to align that with that, right? So autonomous everything is one theme, warehouse automation is another theme. So as long as it's aligned with kind of our key strategy, that's where we start. And then our Ryder Ventures team will work with my engineering team, work with the business to help prioritize what do we need, right? What are the gaps, right? And the other complexity in this industry is the modeling tools are getting really, really sophisticated.
Yeah.
Like the modeling tool, like simulation, digital twins.
Sure.
And I know digital twins a hot topic, but it's real.
Yeah.
It's just, it's not an easy lift to take on a digital twin.
Right.
So as long as it's linked to our strategy, and then working with the business to prioritize, what we're trying to solve, the ventures team will actually go and do the research. We're connected with a bunch of different accelerators. We, shows like Manifest. We have a team that's just dedicated to evaluating startups and technologies, and we'll pilot. I mean, we
Yeah.
have enough warehouses. We have no problem piloting.
Yeah.
Most of the startups are very aggressive around investing in a pilot.
Sure.
You just have to make sure that you support it properly, right? And that's both with data, people, engineering, operations, and so forth. But it's a cool space. I mean, these startups 20 years ago, we didn't have these startups, right?
Yeah.
It's just evolved really quickly, really in the last 5 to 10 years.
Yeah. I mean, I know, started the podcast in 2019, and in those years, like, not intentionally, but obviously along that timeline, like, some of these technologies have just kind of exploded and become really, practical solutions, and it's been really interesting to see that overall. So very interesting to talk to you, Gary, here as always, and happy we could get you to join us. So it is Manifest 2026, the last day today, right? So what's like your number one takeaway this year?
Oh gosh, AI everything, right?
Yeah.
It's two takeaways for us is automation and AI is not slowing down. Right. So you better embrace it. You got to get ahead of it. You got to invest in the people, the capabilities, to truly understand what's real, what's not, what's mature, and then how does it fit your overall strategy. So we're going to continue to invest in AI and automation. Those are two key areas for us.
All right, fantastic, and always good to connect with you. And if
too,
people want to learn more about Ryder, what's the best way to do that?
Ryder.com.
There you go, with a Y, right?
You got it.
So we'll put all that information at thenewwarehouse.com and in the show notes here as well. So make sure you check out Ryder and connect with Gary as well if you want to learn more about what they're doing on the automation, everything, and AI everything front, right?
You got it.
All right.
Appreciate it, Kevin.
Always good to connect with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into today's video here on our YouTube channel, The New Warehouse Podcast, and I appreciate you tuning in. If you liked what you saw, make sure you subscribe to our channel, and if you like this video in particular, make sure you like it as well. And if you want to get this great t-shirt that you see in the video behind me, Warehouses Are Sexy, head to warehousesaresexy.com and get your own.